Hey everybody, what's going on? Dace here, and today we're going to be taking a look at my no-miss approach to clearing Super XYX. So before we get into the run, I'm just gonna go over a couple of things that I feel are just worth knowing before we jump into it. So even if you're not shooting for a no-miss yourself, you can at least apply what you see here to as great a degree as possible, and then that way when you do jump into the game, you will have oodles of resources at your disposal and tons of lives and all this kind of stuff, so you shouldn't have a problem. I think one thing that, when you first jump into this game, things can feel chaotic. I've heard one of my buddies, who's a very skilled player, mention that it's a super tough game, and I can understand that from the perspective of jumping in and not really having an awareness of all the little things you can do here and there, because in that sense, you're going to be taking hits all over the place. It's easy to chain death and all this other kind of stuff. But as long as you learn a few simple things that you can put into practice here, you can gain ridiculous amounts of consistency and just streamline the entire run. At this point, it's hard not to clear the game. I've done a whole bunch of clears, some no-miss boss rush stuff, various arcade clears, like the full run with different characters. And even though this, what you're going to see here, the stages and stuff, has been cut up, it is all from my one no-miss run that I did with Cobra specifically. So if you want to see the full run, then I will leave that in the description or something, like a link or whatever. But yeah, I more or less bring that up because the game is more deceiving and intimidating than it actually is. So like I said, you just learn a couple of things that you can use to your advantage, and you, before long, you'll be cruising and you'll just know the game like the back of your hand, and you will probably have that experience too, where it's okay, you know what to do. It's hard not to clear it. So anyway, the other thing I want to mention is I've hacked out all the scoring sections, because at the end of each stage, that takes up quite a while, and I don't show I think those were the main sections I took out. In general, when I play with Cobra, I clear the game 5 minutes earlier than any of the other characters, just because the damage output is so crazy with that character. And on top of that, the run will feel shorter because, like I said, I took out the scoring stuff, so it'll be 18 minutes or so. But one thing I will say is, you might be thinking, oh, well, I'm using Green Knight, not Cobra, or I'm using Hell Tiger. One thing I've noticed is that no matter which character I use, the same exact approach to the game is utilized. So it honestly doesn't matter whether you're using Green Knight, Hell Tiger, or Cobra. I haven't actually experienced the other characters. There are a bunch more you could use. They felt more like novelties and not actual ones that I really felt drawn to clearing the game with. So I won't speak for those ones, but for the three that I did mention, you just do the same exact thing. There are a couple things I will mention here and there where you just have to do a very, very slight adjustment in how you bring down one enemy or this or that. But for the most part, it's the same approach. So you don't have to feel hindered if you're aiming to bang it out with a different character, because it's the same exact thing. Okay, so I think those are the main things I want to get out, and now we will get this rolling, and we'll just jump in and see how things go. So here we are in the first stage. This is nothing crazy. In terms of visibility, I know people have mentioned they find some of the bullets tricky to spot and that kind of stuff. I didn't really notice that to be the case. There are certainly a couple situations where the colors do blend in a little bit, but I found I was just more in the flow of knowing the motions and the trajectories and that kind of stuff. So the visibility wasn't really an issue for me. And I'm not going to be getting into scoring or anything like that. This is just if you want to do survival. That being said, the main thing that you do want to make sure you avoid is taking hits, because you will get all sorts of extra lives, but you've got to make sure you are not taking any hits, because that just kills your score at the end of the stage. So yeah, nothing crazy is going on here. You'll just need to learn the routing of the first one, the first stage. And this is on the challenging difficulty, not the, I'm not even sure what they call the other one, if it's like normal or what, but I think the default is already on challenging anyway, so if you've booted the game up, this is what you're doing. So for Taurus, this can be a pretty crazy boss, but he does come down fast enough. So I just start like that, go to the side, go back, and then you just make sure you just don't get hit by those lasers that come down. This will just take some getting used to, that's all there is to it. Yeah, it's a pretty straightforward boss. You can always bomb right then and there if you want to as well. So for this, it's definitely a more hectic level. For those, not like those big airships that you just saw were getting a shot off, but normally they fire, and you just need to be straight in front of them so that you're in between, like right there. Now, the bullets do move inward a little bit, so you might have to make a subtle adjustment here and there, but for the most part, I just stay right in front of them, and that way you're good to go. Those things can be tricky, especially in the later section of the game. There are 2 of them, but you just got to make sure you're budgeting things. So this is one section where if you have Green Knight, this thing drops a lot faster, whereas with Hell Tiger and Cobra, you have to actually move to either side to bring that thing down fast, because you have to destroy all the different parts. But as you can see, like, we're just kind of cruising along. The destruction with this character, and the others for that matter, is just off the charts. So just like, yeah, like right there, just stay in the middle as that attack comes down, and then one more little enemy, or like resource pod, or like weapon pod, whatever that was. And then here we are. So just stay right on this guy. And then I'm not sure if that last shot was going to go, so I always just go to the side a little bit, and then boom, he's toast. Get on to the next one. Just stay right up. And there, like nothing to it. So because we did the first 2 stages without taking a hit, we get that question mark thing. You grab that, you hang on to it for the whole level. You don't take a hit, obviously, and then as long as you still have it when you finish this level, you enter the gauntlet. And it's such a blast playing the entirety of the run. So same sort of thing, just move back and forth. Now for these guys, you want to get rid of the little glowing gem to actually bring each thing down. Otherwise, like, guns keep popping up. But this stuff just drops pretty quickly. So I'll take a minute just to say that I've done a lot of runs, and I don't recall if it's how this one goes exactly, but if I use a bomb in here, I will specify if it's one that is the normal, like my average use, or if it was just one that I was using to be a little more careful, because I knew I was very close to doing a no-miss with this character. So there were a couple in this run that I used, bombs I mean, just because I was like, okay, I just want to, like, I know I'm close, it could be this run, so I'm just going to use it, even though I normally don't, or I normally play it safe. So I'll specify that when we get to those parts, so that you know. But normally, like, the boss of the gauntlet, that is the first, like, I use 1 bomb for that boss, and that's usually the first bomb that I use in this whole run. So yeah, just get nice and close with those. You really got to watch out for these lasers. Sometimes they surprise you with the angle they're coming on, or they're shooting out on. But you just bring those things down super quick, and then watch out for that spray. Normally you can just be right down bottom middle, and that's like a safe spot. And boom, another boss just down super easy without issue. And so if you do want to use bombs, you get a bomb at the end of each level, like before you start the next one, so you can budget that however you want to. So for these, just stay right in front and just constantly move a little bit to the side, and then just swaying back and forth for all this stuff. I'm not going to go into super depth, because if you're playing this game, I'm just going to assume that you at least have some familiarity with it. So that's the section I meant with 2. Just kind of like go back and forth and safely not trapping yourself. But ideally, you want to bring down these guys really, really fast so that they don't have time to do much of the attacking. So just get right up here. Same strategy as the stage 2 tank bosses, except this time it's just one. And boom, like no challenge at all. And so here we go. So there's going to be a lot of firepower coming your way. But again, you can kind of just... You don't really need to be... Yeah, you don't need to be fearful in this stage. Just take your time. Just kind of like tap here and there. Things things go down so quickly with just the sheer destructive force of these characters. So what you can do is you can take out one at a time here, or you can do what I'm doing where you just go back and forth and kind of stay on top of the guns as they pop up and out. But it's however you want to do it. Triple I is one where you do need to be a little careful because there are some nasty attacks that can really surprise you. But for the most part, I just start over here or the other side. It doesn't matter, but yeah, like that was a close call there. And it's just one of those things. Yeah, so this moves. I wasn't going to take a chance with that because, like I said, I want to no miss. So normally I don't need to bomb during this boss at all. But if you happen to have one of those situations where one of the green lasers is swinging down and the other's swinging up and you're in between and there's like another one firing, just bomb because, yeah, there's no reason not to. So in here, just stay on top of those dragons and then just stay in the middle there. Those things will never hit you in the middle. And then watch for these guys. They open up, shoot them down quick, and then get ready for the next one. And then just get straight up over top of the heads about right there. You can get hit sometimes if they come up higher and you don't move high enough with them. You can get clipped by that, so just be really careful not to fall for that. And of course, if you do take one head off, they get faster, so you do need to be, like the other head starts getting more aggressive, so watch out for that too. But yeah, this part's pretty easy too. Just stay to one side and go through the little thing. You can also just bomb through this too if you want to, but I find I never need to. But one thing that can get you is, with all the explosions and stuff happening, the sections that start to drift down after you've blown them up, those can smash right into you. And I've had a number of deaths from that and just not paying attention when I first got into this. So you do need to be careful for that. And so for this, just stay to the side, stay in between there, and then just keep the damage on those big blue spheres. But this character does bring those things down pretty quickly. There will sometimes be moments where he comes down and snakes across the section where I am right now. It might be... Yeah, he doesn't do it this time, but sometimes he does, and you just like move up and out of the way and you're good to go. I also cut out the section where you collect all the the fruits and all this kind of stuff because that's like a minute. So here we are. You just stay right here. Interestingly enough, even though you have a focus shot, well, like a speed altering sort of thing, I found I almost never use it, but that's one of the sections during this attack here. That's where I use the focus shot. I think that's the only time I ever use it in the whole game, just to like alter my speed. So for this level, just stay right on that guy. They go down super fast. And then just as long as you're staying on top of things, those big worm things should not be getting an attack. And then just stay on this guy. He comes down pretty quickly and you're good to go. And always remember, these things come both sides, so just stay on top of that. You're not really seeing it, of course. You can bomb through that just to play it safe. There is another instance where those guys will come back in this stage, and normally I don't need to bomb during that part. But I think in this run I did, just because it was a little too risky, and again, I was going for that no miss. So I wasn't going to take the chance. So for here, just stay pretty close so that that guy goes down quickly and you have the time to be down here. If you take too long to take the guy out on the right, then it gives the one on the left more time to start getting crazy and all this other stuff. So just stay on top of that and you'll be good. And then before you know it, you are... Yeah, so here's the one. Normally this is no issue at all. Oh, maybe I didn't bomb. Okay, cool. Yeah, I think, like I said, I've done oodles of runs at this point, so it's... Oh, it was there. Yeah, normally I don't need to bomb there at all, but yeah, I was just going to play it super, super safe. So for this one, just watch out for where that thing goes, and I bombed there because I kind of just cornered myself, and I didn't want to risk anything, so I just used a bomb. Now, normally I'm more aggressive. I usually just stay right in front of them, but for whatever reason, it felt like there were just so many of those spinning blade things. So I, just handled it that way. And so for this stage, again, we have the dragons. They don't get too many shots off, but sometimes they do. And then I just bombed there. Normally I can navigate that. I think being on the other side would have been better, but I just wasn't this time, so that's just how that went. And then just stay on top of the dragons like this. But as you can see, like, look at how many lives we have. Look at how many bombs we still have. And that's with using bombs I normally don't need to use. So as you can see, like, you're going to have oodles of resources, nothing but resources to just push through the end of the run. So we got more dragons. That guy can sometimes trip you up if you're not expecting it. And then I think the third time we see this dragon, there's one of those exploding things that sends like a rain of projectiles down. That can sometimes, if you don't remember that's going to happen, those projectiles that are raining down can trip you up or take a life or whatever, so you really do need to watch for that. But these guys are easy. They almost never pose any sort of threat whatsoever. Yeah, so there, like, just be really careful or stay to one side. And then a last little wave of the dragons before the boss. The dragon matriarch. So for this, stay all the way at the very top of the screen. Don't go down at all, and just go back and forth to deal damage for whichever head you want to tackle. And that's all there is to it. One down, boom. Like, you're done already. Like, no problem whatsoever. No risk at all. And then, so one thing I want to say is that this game does not have a very decent training mode. It's, yeah, very lackluster. I would love to, like, I don't have much experience in this level. I would love to just do more of this level. But jumping into it with the practice mode that's there is pretty, yeah, like, it's not very fulfilling, because it doesn't represent what you would, like, the situation you'd be in with, like, your power level and all that kind of stuff. But just stay to the side like that with a lot of your attacks and things like that, and just kind of go back and forth to avoid shots. For this, you can just stay to one side, because these guys kind of, it looks like they're going to do stuff to you, but then they usually move out of the way, and so if you're at this side, you're good to go. If I use a bomb here, it's just because I don't want to take chances getting clipped by those side lasers that shoot out. And because I was so close, I might just be using more bombs anyway for that no miss. So even if this level is a little more on the sloppy side for you, you're so close to the end that you're going to be fine if you're just going for a clear. Again, just stay to the side like this, and they're going to do nothing at all. You do need to watch out for those guys that come swooping in super fast, because if they get shots off, that gets nasty. And then for the Exalted, this has some nasty attacks. You can dodge if you want. Some of this stuff, you might actually, like, depending on your character, you might have to deal with that. But with this character, it goes down pretty fast. Or just bomb through it. You won't actually need many. And then the last phase is where they do this, so destroy as many of the green dudes as possible. And then just make sure you don't get clipped by anything. Just bomb through whatever you need to, just to ensure that you're not taking hits. If you are playing for score, then obviously, like I said, you don't want to take hits at all. And that bonus when you do clear the very final, like the TLB, that makes a huge difference. I think it's something like double the score compared to like one of my first clears where I took a handful of hits, and so yeah, it's crazy. So yeah, just stay right in front of those guys. It might feel intimidating, but they're not actually going to do anything. And then for these guys, just kind of stay in the middle. Don't let yourself get clipped by that. But it's not as threatening as it might feel when you first get here for the first time. And here we are at the TLB. So, like, let's say you've even taken 4 or 5 hits, like just in that last stage alone, like the one we just finished, then you're still good to go. Just make sure you watch out for that kind of stuff. Bomb through anything that you aren't sure about if you haven't practiced much. So for this, just stay up here. You can be damaging the boss just by staying out of the way while this guy does this attack. Sometimes there might be 2 of them. And depending on what character, you might be in this battle a little longer, but it's not going to be much longer, to be honest. Yeah, see, toast already, so there you go. So I think all in all, this game is very, yeah, like it's easy to struggle with it initially, or sometimes you might fumble a whole bunch in stage 1 and you're just wondering, like, what's going on here? But you just got to push through that, and you just got to do what practice you can in the runs. I would love if someday we had a decent stage practice in this game, because I would really dig into that for sure a lot more. But for the most part, it is so approachable, and it gives you so many resources that you can do a lot of work just in the runs, and before long you will bang this out, so you don't need to worry about it. You just got to put a bit of time into it, and you'll be cruising through this game as many times as you want. So anyway, I'll leave things off there. I trust this helped everybody who checked it out, and I want to thank everyone for being here today, and have a stellar one, and yeah, we'll see you next time. Take care.